Hello. All right, so we're going to talk a little more about some helpers. A few people have asked about some of these layouts have a lot more information on them. Like my recipes here has this things to do on the side. So it'd be nice if I could create that dynamically, and maybe I want to change, depending on what page I'm on, I want to change what these links do. Because these might be relevant to, if I'm on recipes, I might have something like save my recipe and change the recipe, something like that. If I'm on articles, I might have reference links here, something like that, specific to the content that I have on the page. So I would kind of want to make this dynamic, much like I would my advertisers. You know, you might put Google Ads in here, and this stuff would change based on what content you're displaying. So I'm going to take this things to do piece here and move it into a helper and show how we might change those links dynamically by the each page. All right. So first of all, where is this HTML right now?
Application.
It's in my application layout. So I got to find it in here. Header, main, section, aside, things to do. All right, so here's my things to do header. And so I'm going to just take the unordered list here and take that out and put it into a helper method so that I could use, instead of making it a partial, I could do it a partial, but I want to dynamically create some of these links. So I'm going to do it as a method. Just you can do it either way. I'm just going to do it as a method. So I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to call my method. So I'm going to call it something like things to do. All right? So I have to create this method. Where would I do that? In my helper, okay? And since it's likely going to be on every page, I'm going to put it in my application helper. So I'll put it at the top here. Define a new things to do method. And first of all, I'll start by pasting all this information in here. Yes?
Is there really a reason other than organization to use a different helper file?
Just organization. Yep.
So if we choose to, we can put all of our helpers in one page and not have them spread out.
Right.
Because they're all compiled together at the
Right. In this case, the scope of these is across all the views from what I can tell. Yes.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So this method, I think you may need a parameter. That one is which one? It come from home or
Maybe.
about us?
Yep, we'll get to that.
Oh.
Yep, we'll do something like that. So to start with, which leads me exactly what I want to do, instead of just hard coding all of this information here, I want to actually have a list of links to display. All right? So what Ruby structure lends itself to a list of information? An array would give me a single column of information. But when I create a link, what two pieces do I need in a link? If I were to create a link, the name, the body, or the click text is what should I call it? The stuff between the A tags, and then the href, right? Those are the two main pieces I need for a. So that would lend itself to a hash. Very good. So I'm going to pass in a hash of something. We'll call it links stuff. All right. So given a links hash, how can I loop through a links hash? Let's say that my hash has a key. The key is the URL, and the value is the body, whatever, click text. All right. So I'm going to say links.each do, and between my goalposts, I'm going to have my key, which I'm going to call the URL, and the body is the value. And what does my helper need to return? A list of links, which is what type of data? A string of HTML, right? So I'm going to have we'll just call it HTML equals nothing. Let's put my UL tag in here to start with, because I need that. Then inside, at the end of my link, I'm going to add a bunch of stuff. I'm going to add my closing UL tag. All right, because I'm creating strings, so I've got that piece out of the way. Now, inside of here, I want to create a link. So the first thing I want to have is an LI around it. And so, right, I'm going to say HTML plus equals LI, and I need a closed LI, and then I need stuff in between that. So let's copy this here and see what we got here. We put that in the middle. My href is going to have what inside of it here? My URL, which is URL. All right. Then my body is going to replace this, and we'll change this to body, and there we go. All right, so for every one of my links, it's going to print out an A tag and the body. All right? No, that's not. But it gets us started. What did I cut? Oh, I cut off my thingy there. So there you go. All right, so that's not very Railsist. That's not how we would do that normally. So how do I create this information using a Rails code? All right. So I'm going to call that a link to. So I'm going to say, I'm going to take my LI, I'm going to add a link to, and the first part of the link to is what? It's the body. The second part is the URL. And it creates all of that for me. And I'm going to add my closing LI tag at the end. And this has got to have parentheses around it. This is one of the reasons why we have to do that, to make that one single entity that I'm adding together. So I just as soon use parentheses everywhere. It's just, Rails doesn't like it. You'll see a lot of code without it, so I get used to reading it, but I write it that way. I think it's better. Yes. Why would you switch, right? Yes, I agree. Most Rails guys don't like that. All right, so that gets me pretty close. I then need to return the end of it. I like to explicitly return my HTML so I know what I'm doing. This actually, just leaving this alone by itself would return the same thing. So now if I call my things to do, I pass it a hash of a bunch of key value URL body tags. It will generate all of the HTML for me. So let's go. Let's go. Yes, where is that? So I can pass it a hash, and I can use the same type of structure. So my key was the URL, right? So I might have, yeah. And then that's going to be, the URL is HTTP. I have to give it the full. All right, so that's one. All right, let me Google that for you. Goes to let me Google that for you.com. And let's do another one that might be the calendar, some events. All right, so my body let's see, I have it. I think I have it backwards, don't I?
I think it's URL and volume. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, great.
URL.
His key is the URL. His value
Yeah.
is-
So I have it backwards there.
See, except for this.
So my
Oh,
School room.
so this goes here. This goes here.
Oh, that's just change the volume.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
you need to put a comment at the end of L and PFY.
I'll take this back, and that's the body. And then the URL is going to be, if I want to go to my internal calendar page, what is that going to look like?
It should just be the root URL called, so like /page/calendar.
All right. So what's another way in Rails to figure what that is?
Page hash or out.
Path or
Remember the methods that the routes creates for us? So I called it, for my calendar, I called it, my as here was just calendar path. Calendar path.
Oh,
So I should be able to just put calendar path here as the URL, and it should go to that piece.
put a comment.
All right, so I could wrap this in a hash, but Rails knows that if I'm passing a bunch of stuff, it puts it into a hash anyway in this case. So hopefully this will work.
Well, because you're using the hash arrow.
Right, hash rocket stuff.
Do equals, it'll screw up. Feel free to the hash rocket.
All right, there we go. Look at that. Isn't that great?
I'll say
Very good. So you saw that right away. I'm seeing HTML on the page. That should alert me that that's wrong. I got to go to my helper, and I've got to return .html save. And note also, I see some of you guys saving the files. RubyMine knows that if you click somewhere else on another application, it saves all your files for you. So you note that I never go up and save it. If I click on my browser, it saved the file. So I don't have to go save it. It saves a lot of time. Reload my page. Bada boom, bada bing. Look at that. Is that sweet? So you notice my events now put on the localhost 3000 page calendar. That should go to my calendar page. And that's a problem with the stuff I added this morning to answer a question. So we'll go fix that. But let me Google that for you. Should go to that. It's great. And google.com goes to google.com. Isn't that cool?
So do you want that on the assignment too, or?
No, I'm just showing you how to do that.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's just to make life easier for them.
Do we have to do
Ryan's
anything
all
with
like
our
kick keys
sidebar
now
at
over
this
there.
point?
Getting excited.
No, that's up to you guys what you want to do with that.
So if we just leave it at default, we're not gonna hurt.
Right. Boy, my page source is not coming up. That's weird.
Something said because my current links are just still that partial that you showed us that partial right here.
So here's what it came out to be. It created the UL. If I want that to look pretty in my source code, what would I do? /n/t/t's. Put those on the end of every one of these guys. Put those here. And that would make my source code look nice. I might tab these in here, etc. So if I reload my source code,
Oh, look at that.
it's got really nice ULs here.
I have a calendar that should go when it comes to source code.
Yeah, concise and uglified. Yes, I got you. It's a little easier to debug when you're doing it this way. So it's just a thought. All right, any questions on that things to do? I was able to create that. Now, if I wanted to, I could take that and move it into each view, and each view would have its own data that would pass. And so I might have contextual links then based on the content that I have. All right, any questions on that? All right, then let's start looking into our contact page. Do I even have that on mine? That's the next assignment. So we're in the About Us page here. I want to change this and have a contact form in here. If you want to.
Well, if you're going to move on to it, can you at least go over it?
Well, I want to go through stuff. I guess we could. If you want to look at the assignment, fine.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I might have changed
That's
this.
what it said, is you wanted a About Us and a Contact Us.
Yeah, I didn't put it in mine. Like I said, I'm doing mine differently than what you're required to do. All right, so here's what we're going to do for the assignment. We're going to add a form to, this should probably change to Contact Us page. And so I'll change that. It's going to display the values that were submitted on the same page. And this is just to get you used to creating a form in Rails and parsing the information in your controller and shipping it back to the view. We're not storing this information in a model yet in our database. To do the database is a whole different animal, and it's actually a lot easier to do a database form. So, but this gives us an idea, gives us more practice on sending information from a form to Rails, getting the information out of that, and then sending it back to the view. So we're still doing view, controller view interactions, and the model will come later. So we're not actually storing this information, and we're going to have a name, email, phone number, question as a text area, radio buttons, an email address, phone number, and a pull-down menu of products that they're asking, a select box that they're asking about. And then a checkbox is identifying something about the business that they're interested in. Maybe that would be sign up for my newsletter or something. You think about it for your particular website that you're doing. All right, so that's the first thing. This we've already done in a little bit, where I created an array in my controller, and in my view, I displayed the information. This is hard coding the product page for now with a hash in the controller. We just hard code a hash in the controller, and in my view, I'm going to display that in a nice way in a table or something like that. All right, so that's just another way of getting some information from the controller to the view. This should only take you, 5 minutes. This is really simple, and I've already done that prior already. This is going to take a little longer because we have to take and process the information in the controller and then send it back, save it as instance variables so my view can read it, etc. And the form should be sticky, meaning that if they submit something, it should come back into the form data itself. So if I put the name and I forget all the rest of this stuff, it should come back populated with the name as well. So we'll go through all of that.
So all we have to do is
Yeah.
build a table like you have there using those descriptions and those prices
Yep.
on our products page. And
Yep.
build a-
Hard coded as a hash of products.
Oh, wow.
Very simple. 5 minutes. If it takes you more than 5 minutes, you're in trouble.
This assignment is to get used to displaying.
All right? So
I'm sure you're not missing crucial details.
no, that's not it. That's I said that. All right, so let's go and talk about some form information now. If I wanted to add HTML to my page, where would I do that in my About Us page? In the view. Okay, it's in the view, and this actually tells me exactly what page it's in. So I'm going to go to the About Us page. You guys are going to have a Contact Us page. So that's a little different. Slightly different. Let's see, I don't have a... Yep. All right. So let's go to the About Us page. Here we go. Here's my About Us page, and let's start... changing this and adding some HTML. All right, so I'm going to call this Contact Us or ask a question. That's Spanish, cuestiono, right? No. All right, so the first thing, let's go look at I want to show you some more documentation, and maybe that's as far as we'll get today. The API.rubyonrails.org, has detailed information about every method in Rails. So if you know what the method is, this is easy to get to. The problem is, how do you know what the methods are? So there's another site called guides.rubyonrails.org. And this is, if you just go to rubyonrails.org, this is where everything is at. You can see what version they're on. They're working on Rails 4 right now. So the next version will be 4. It's not going to be 3.3, for instance. And that's going to be a major change. So, but anyway, the guides are the best way to get at, and this is clicking all the way through, we get to the guides. This should be, and I'm going to make them required reading for you. This guides index here has a guide page for each one of the things that we're covering. So you should look at the Getting Started with Rails, and we're skipping the models for now. You should read this Layouts and Rendering in Rails, and then the Action View Form Helpers. That's what we're going to talk about now. You can look at the controllers, Action Controller, and Rails routing, which is we've covered a little bit, but all of that stuff, they do a good job of explaining how each of those pieces work. And then they go into more deeper stuff like debugging and performance and configuring, and the asset pipeline, which does the compiling of the style sheets and the images and all that stuff. It expands on that. So those are great to view. We're going to look at the Action View Form Helpers. And this deals with basic forms. So if I have this code here, this is a Rails method called form tag, and I want to output the information of this form tag, and it is a block. So I say form tag do, and then inside of this I'm going to put all my forms. Just like in HTML, I open a form tag and I close a form tag. It's the same kind of thing. This will generate the form HTML for me. So if I go and just put that in my page and reload my page, it has, you don't see anything here except my form contents. But let's look at the source code. It's interesting that that's not working. Okay, form, we'll find out where it's at. Here it is. Okay, here we go. So this is the form. And if you look at it closely, it did all the things necessary. It's got an open form tag and a closed form tag. And then my form contents are inside of that. So we're going to be replacing that with like a text input box and a text area, things like that. But without doing anything, it figured out the page that I'm on needs to be the action that I'm posting to. And by default, it's using the method post. So all of that was created just because I was on the About Us page to start with. Rails figured that out and filled out the form for us. Isn't that nice? Then it added two input forms. It puts it in a div here with some inline styling to make it basically nothing. It takes it out of the code. And we have two input fields that are hidden input fields. And these have to do with security in, actually there are two. So I have this UTF-8. This is so that my form data comes in using the character set UTF-8. And then this authenticity token is created and generated by this version of Rails so that it prohibits cross-site scripting, which is a way of intercepting form data and session cookies and basically capturing somebody's session as they're doing their banking or something like that. So this is these are given to us automatically. We don't have to worry about them. But if you look at your form, don't get freaked out about those. Those are built in for us to help our site be more secure.
That inline's gonna freak out on validation.
No. Shouldn't. Let's see. Although I don't have anything in the form, so it might not like that.
Because it's freaking out every time I use any inline.
Oh, yeah?
It says, you're using HTML5, you should be doing that in CSS.
Yeah. So this is that's about as far as we're going to get today. We'll talk about creating input fields here and how we process them in the controller. So this is just a controller view cycle. We're sending stuff from a form, the controller gets it, sends it back to the view, and we're going to be able to cycle through that. All right? That's all for now. Any questions?